Hello students, how are you all? Yes, so I hope all of you have attended this mock test yesterday, right? So today let us discuss the solutions of those questions, okay? So mock test 1, physics. So let us discuss the solution. Here comes our first question. A physical quantity is measured and its value is found to be Nu. Its value is found to be n times u, okay, n times u, where n is numerical value and u is unit. For example, if you consider 100 centimeter, right? So this is unit, centimeter is unit, and this 100, that is the number n. Okay, now then which of the following relation is true? Which of the following relation is true? So this is general concept. You have n into u, that is always constant. Okay, n into u is constant, or we can write n is inversely proportional to unit. N is inversely proportional to its unit. That means here, for example, 1 meter, that is equal to 100 centimeter, right? So this can be written as, this 1 can be written as n1, and this is unit, meter is unit, therefore you can write it as u1, right? Then what about this 100? That is one more number, n2, and this is one more unit, u2. So just look at this. This meter is larger unit and centimeter is smaller unit. Correct? No? Meter is larger unit, that is known as SI unit, and centimeter, that is CGS unit, that is smaller unit. Now, if unit is smaller, this number will be larger. Correct? No? Centimeter is smaller unit. Then the number which we write along with that unit, that will be larger. Just look at this. Meter is a larger unit, but what about this number? Compared to this 100, this is smaller, right? That is why we consider n is inversely proportional to u. If unit is smaller, number will be larger, right? Or if number is smaller, unit will be larger. That means they are inversely proportional. Numerical value and that unit are inversely proportional. So if you look at the options, it's fourth option. Fourth option is correct. We have discussed this during discussion of synapses, right? Yes. Let's go through second question. A stone falls from a balloon that is descending at a uniform rate of 12 meter per second. That means that balloon, okay, if you consider a balloon, that balloon is descending, that is moving down with certain velocity, that is initial velocity you can consider, that is 12 meter per second. Okay, from this balloon, now a ball, what is that? A stone, okay, a stone is dropped. Okay, from this balloon, a stone is dropped. Okay, then that has to move downward. Now, what is the question? The displacement of the stone from the point of release after 10 seconds. Okay, after 10 seconds, how much displacement will be there for this stone? How you can solve this? Actually, this one is dropped, right? So in the case of free fall, anything is dropped means initial velocity you can consider that as 0. But now what happens here in this particular case? Now that ball is that stone is dropped from a descending balloon. Therefore, you have to consider initial velocity of this stone as velocity of this balloon. Initial velocity of stone will be equal to velocity of this balloon. Why? Because that stone is there inside that balloon. So that is also moving along with that balloon. Therefore, you have to consider initial velocity of this stone as 12 meter per second. It is not equal to 0. Okay, it is not equal to 0. If that is at rest, you can consider be not equal to 0. But now that stone is moving along with that balloon. Therefore, you have to consider initial velocity of that stone as 12 meter per second. Now you have to calculate displacement. So general equation you have x equal to v naught t plus half a t square, right? So we can write s is equal to v naught t plus half a t square or half gt square. Just substitute the values. So s, that is equal to v naught. What is that? As I said, 12, and time is 10 seconds, right? Minus half into 10 into 10 square. Correct? No? Correct? Yes. So just simplify this. Just simplify this. Okay, just simplify this. What do you get? How to get 6110? Simple calculation, you can do that. Simple calculation, you can do that. Okay. Yes. In this particular case, actually, this velocity displacement is also in downward direction. So if you put the direction for this, you can consider this one as negative, and this velocity that is also moving in downward direction. So you can consider that one also negative. Okay, that one also negative. Else you will get some other answer. Okay, so displacement is downward, so that is negative. Velocity, initial velocity, that is also in downward direction, so that is also negative. And acceleration due to gravity, that is always negative. That is always negative. So if you consider sign convention like that, you will get 610. Hope you are getting that, right? Yes, got it. Okay, go to next question. A particle moves with a velocity 6 I cap plus 4 j cap. It should be j cap. Okay, all are unit vectors. Okay, unit vectors, I cap, j cap, k cap. Okay, and here a force is applied. This is also unit vector actually. Okay, now instantaneous power you have to calculate. I think this you can do. P equal to f dot v. P equal to f dot v. Direct calculation, dot product. So you will get 45 joule per second. Okay, 45 joule per second. Simple calculation. Next one. A man can swim in still water with a speed of 2 meters per second. If he wants to cross a river of water current with a speed that water current has a certain speed, that is root 3 meter per second. Okay, that means velocity of water is this much. Okay, velocity of water, that is root 3 meter per second. Now that person, he wants to move along shortest possible path, then with then which direction should he has to swim? Shortest possible path. Just try to draw that diagram for that. Okay, just try to draw a diagram for that. So let us consider this as a river. Okay, now he need to move from here to here. Okay, here to here. You can name this particular point as A and this particular point as B. Okay, so this is the shortest path, right? This is the shortest path. Okay, now if he has to move from here to here, now what is the direction of water current? Water current will be in downward direction, right? Water current is along this downward, like this water current. So if he starts swimming along this particular point, what happens? He will reach somewhere here. He will reach somewhere here. If he tries to move along, tries to swim along AB, then he will reach somewhere here. Now that one is not shortest path. So this one is the shortest path. A to B is the shortest path. So finally, if he has to follow this path, how he has to swim? He has to swim along this direction. Okay, he has to swim along this direction. So what happens if he swims along this direction? Then this water current that will push him towards downward. right? And finally he can reach this particular point. So let us consider this particular angle as theta. Now you know this particular angle, that is 90 degree. Okay, 90 degree. Correct, no? Now that theta value you have to calculate. So what is theta? That is what you need to calculate. Okay. Yes. Now you can consider this direction. This is nothing but direction of water current. Water current. Now you know speed, that is Vs, that is 2 meter per second, right? And this is Vw, right? Root 3 meter per second. So now what you can do? Just take sine theta from this. Sine theta. Sine theta means opposite side divided by hypotenuse. So Vw divided by Vb, right? Or V of sigma. Okay, V of sigma. Vs you can consider Vs. So now what happens? It is nothing but root 3 divided by 2. So what about theta? Sin theta is root 3 by 2. So that implies theta, right? Theta equal to sine inverse of root 3 by 2. So what is sine inverse of root 3 by 2? 60 degree. Okay, now theta is 60 degree. But if you look at the options, 60 degree is not there, right? 60 degree is not given. Now what is the answer? Yes. So now you know this particular angle. This is 90 degree and now you got this one as 60 degree. So what you can do, you can measure this total angle, this total angle. So what is that total angle? 90 plus 60. So what do you get? 150 degree you will get, right? 150 degree. So is there 150? Yes, it is here. At an angle 150 degree to the water current. So water current is downward, right? Water current is in downward direction. So with that, he has to swim by making an angle of 150 degree. Got it? Yes. What is the next question? A person holds a block weighing 2 kg between his hands. Okay. Generally, we get problem on this concept like this. A block is held by pushing towards the wall. Okay, then what is the friction? Like that they will ask. But in this particular case, they have given that a block is held between the hands. So what happens here? Due to one hand, there will be some friction, and on another side, due to another hand, there will be some friction on this block, right? Therefore, here you have to consider 2 times this frictional force. It tries to move downward, right? It tries to move downward. Okay, so that is nothing but mg. That is mg. Now this, if this has to be at rest, what you have to consider? This downward force must be balanced by frictional force. Downward force must be balanced by frictional force. So what is that frictional force? Mu into mg, right? Or mu into that frictional force. So here 2 sides you have to consider. Therefore we can write 2 mu into f, that is equal to mg. Okay, 2 mu into f. Mu is coefficient of friction. Okay, 2 into coefficient of friction. Okay, yes. So here what is f actually? F is like normal reaction. Okay, F is like normal reaction. So here if you are applying some force like this, okay, you are applying some force here. Here also you are applying some force. So generally we write frictional force F is nothing but mu into n, right? Frictional force is nothing but mu into n. So here now instead of n you have to consider the applied force, the force which you are applying. Since there are 2 forces acting from both the sides, right? So total force can be written as 2 times this. Okay, 2 times mu into f. So what is our intention? We need mu. So mg divided by, what is that? 2f. mg divided by 2f. So f is given. Just substitute the values. Mass is given here. How much mass? 2 kg, right? So 2 into G can be taken as 10 divided by 2F, 2 into 50. So if you simplify, you will get 0.2, 0.2. Okay. Again, you can expect this type of question also. Okay. In this particular case, what happens? Mu into n equal to mg. Okay. Mu into n, that must be equal to mg. Okay. Since here it is kept in between two hands, you have to consider both the forces from both sides. What is mu here actually? Mu is the friction between that hand and that block. Okay. Yes. For the next question. A force of 8 Newton is applied for 12 seconds to a block of mass 2 kg lying on frictionless table. The kinetic energy of the body is, kinetic energy, it is equal to P square divided by 2m. Correct, no? The relation between kinetic energy and linear momentum. Also, momentum. Here actually force and time is given. How to get momentum from this? Impulse, right? Impulse is nothing but change in momentum. Correct, no? Therefore, what you can do? So here instead of P square, you can calculate impulse. Impulse means impulse, that is force into time. F into T. F into T is impulse. Impulse is equal to change in momentum. Impulse equal to change in momentum. Okay, impulse equal to change in momentum. Therefore, here you can write change in impulse, that is force into time, right? Force into time. So that one square, P square. Therefore, F into T square divided by 2 times mass. Just substitute the values. 8 into 12 into 8 into 12, that is 8 into 12 square, 2 into, what is mass? Mass is 2 kg, right? So 2 kg. Okay, just simplify this. 2304 joule you will get. Please check that. 2304 joule. Yes. Next one. A ballet dancer spins about a vertical axis at 60 RPM. Okay, that is actually frequency. Okay, this is actually frequency. With his arms closed. Now he stretched his arms such that the moment of inertia is increased by 50%. Moment of inertia is increased by 50%. Now what about new speed of revolution? So conservation of angular momentum concept. So initial angular momentum must be equal to final angular momentum. That is I1 omega 1, that must be equal to I2 omega 2. I2 omega 2. So I1 into omega, here actually frequency is given, right? Frequency is given. Therefore, you can write this as 2 pi f1, that is equal to I2 into 2 pi f2. Correct, no? So 2 pi get cancelled. So we can write I1 f1, that is equal to I2 f2. I1 f1 equal to I2 f2. Or we can write it here. Okay, I'll write it here. What is that? F2 divided by F1. That is nothing but I1 by I2, correct, no? I1 divided by I2. Now, so given that moment of inertia is increased by 50%. Moment of inertia is increased by 50%. So initially, if you consider, sorry, F2 divided by F1, that is equal to initial moment of inertia, if you consider that as I, then it is increased by 50%. That means I plus increased by 50% means half I bit. Correct, no? So what do you get? 3 by 2 I you will get, right? So adding half 50%. Correct, no? Now you will get it as 2 by 3, I think. 2 by 3. That means F2 divided by F1 is 2 by 3. F2 divided by F1 is 2 by 3. So our requirement is F2. F2. So what you can write? 2 by 3 into F1. What is F1? F1 is 60, right? F1 is 60. So 60. Just simplify this. 40 RPM you will get. Next. So time period and height concept. The direct one. You know, T square proportional to R cube concept, right? So T square proportional to R cube. So we can write T1 by T2, that whole square, that is equal to R plus H1 divided by R plus H2 whole cube. Just rearrange for T1 by T2. That is R plus H1 divided by R plus H2 whole to the power 3 by 2. Correct, no? Taking square root of this. So which option? Second option. Correct, no? Second option. Yes. For the next question. Yes, relation between bulk modulus and fractional change in volume. You know this. Delta V by V is equal to P divided by bulk modulus. Or you can consider minus sign here. If you want minus sign, you can consider. Now, you know, density, mass by volume. That implies density is directly proportional 1 by V, inversely proportional to V. So we can write delta rho by rho can be written as minus of delta V by V. Correct, no? Delta rho by rho is nothing but minus of delta V by V. So just substitute this value in this equation. So what do you get? Minus delta rho by rho, that is equal to minus P by B. Right? So from this you can rearrange for delta rho. What do you get? P rho divided by B. Okay. B, bulk modulus. Okay, here bulk modulus is taken as K, right? So bulk modulus is taken as K. So which option you will get? Delta rho equal to P rho divided by K. P rho divided by K is option 3. So bubble. Two soap bubbles in vacuum having radii 3 centimeter and 4 centimeter, they coalesce. So in such case, direct formula we have the radius of new bubble will be equal to R1 square plus R2 square. Shortcut formula. Please remember this shortcut formula. So what do you get? 3 square plus 4 square. So 5 centimeter you will get. Yes. Just look at this. Two rods. One is circular one and another one is straight one. Just look at the diagram. Okay. Now the point A and B are maintained at different temperatures. Okay. The ratio of heat transferred through cross section of semicircular rod to the heat transferred through the cross section of straight rod. Heat transfer, you know, rate of flow of heat, that is given by Ka delta theta or delta T, difference in temperature, divided by L. Right? So now same material is given, that means K value is same, and same area of cross section is given, that means A value is same. So these two values remain same. And what about delta theta? Both the ends are maintained at same constant temperature, right? Therefore, that is also constant. Therefore, we can write Q by T is proportional to 1 by L only, right? 1 by L. Therefore, we can write, and what about time? In same time, right? So time is same. Therefore, we can write Q proportional to 1 by L. Q proportional to 1 by L, law of heat. Therefore, we can write Q1 by Q2, that is equal to L2 by L1. L2 by L1. So what is L2? L2 here to here. If radius is R, it will be 2R. Correct? Then what about this? This length, half of the circle. So circumference, half the circumference. That is nothing but pi R. 2 pi R by 2, half of circle, semicircle. Just simplify, we'll get 2 by pi. 2 by pi. Correct, no? Yes. Next one. During adiabatic expansion of 2 moles of a gas, the change in internal energy was found to be equal to minus 100 joule. Minus 100 joule. The work done during this process will be dq equal to du plus dw. First law. Adiabatic process. That means what? dq must be equal to 0. Adiabatic process. Since it is adiabatic process, dq equal to 0. That means dw must be equal to minus of du. Right? So just simplify. dw, that is equal to minus of minus 100. Minus of minus 100. So that will be plus 100 joule. Next one. General question. You know, expression for Vrms, that is 3RT divided by M. 3RT divided by M. So Vrms can be written as, or that is directly proportional to what? 1 by M or 1 by root M. 1 by root M. So you know, mass of hydrogen less compared to mass of nitrogen, less compared to mass of oxygen. What are the values? This is 2, this is how much? 28, right? And this one is 32. So how they are proportional? Inversely proportional. Inversely proportional. Mass and Vrms. Therefore, we can write VH or H2 must be greater than V of N2 must be greater than V of O2. Yes. Option 1. Correct, no? No, sorry. Sorry. Second option, correct? Second option. Question number 13. Second option. Yes, second option. This one. X equal to A cos omega t and Y equal to A sin omega t. Just square and add these two equations. Squaring and adding. Squaring and adding these two. So what do you get? X square plus Y square, that is equal to A square you will get. Correct, no? X square plus Y square, that is equal to A square. A square. You know, this is nothing but equation of a circle. Equation of circle. Next question. Always particles separated by a distance is equal to wavelength are said to be in same phase. Please remember that. Okay. Particles separated by a distance equal to wavelength are said to be in same phase. So separation must be equal to wavelength. Just look at the values. For which particles separation will be equal to wavelength, lambda. Just consider point B and G. Okay, point B and point G. Whether separation is equal to lambda here? Yes. Correct, no? For point B and G, the separation will be equal to lambda. A positive half and negative half. Yes. Next one. I think this you can calculate. Maximum is nothing but u square sine square theta divided by 2g. Just calculate this. U square sine square theta divided by 2g. So what is u? 50 square, right? Yeah. So 50 square sine 30 square sine square 30 divided by 2 into 10 you can consider. So 2500 into 1 by 4 divided by 20. So if you simplify, you will get which option you will get? Second option you must get. Second option. Simple calculation, you can do that. Yes. A 10 gram of ice, okay, a 10 gram of ice which is at 0 degrees Celsius is mixed with 10 gram of water at 10 degrees Celsius. Then final temperature of the mixture will be. Here you can use some common sense, right? So if ice is mixed with this water, the temperature of water final mixture must have a temperature which must be less than its initial temperature, right? When you mix ice to water, temperature of water must decrease because that hotness is absorbed by that ice and ice starts melting. Correct, no? Yes. Now, if you want to, what happens here? Heat lost by that ice, that will be equal to heat gained by, sorry, heat lost by that hot water or water, it is equal to heat gain. Heat lost by water must be equal to heat gained by ice. Heat gained by ice. Or just calculate heat lost by that water. How? ms delta t. ms delta t. So what is mass? Mass of water. Mass of water. It is 10, right? 10. Specific heat, that is 1. Temperature 10. So what do you get? 100 calorie. That is the heat given by that water. Okay. Using that 100 calorie heat, you have to consider how much ice is melted, right? So we can write mass of ice that can melt. Mass of ice that can melt. That is nothing but, yes, here this Q, that must be equal to M into L, Mi into L, right? Or mass of ice that melts, that is nothing but Q by L. So what is L? Latent heat, right? Yeah. What is this Q? That is 100. Latent heat is 80. So what do you get? 1.25 gram. So what is actual mass of ice? Total mass of ice is 10 gram, right? Total ice, that is equal to 10 gram. So out of 10, that 10 gram, only this much amount of ice can be melted using the heat given by that hot water. That means what? Even after absorbing complete heat from that water, it is not possible to melt this complete ice. Only this portion is melted. Only this much amount is melted. It melts only this much amount. How much? 1.25 gram of ice can be melted. What do you mean by that? You know, while discussing that synopsis, I said you about the change of state concept. During change of state, what happens? There is no change in temperature. During change of state, no change in temperature, right? So here, whatever heat is absorbed, that is completely used to melt this ice. Okay, so whatever heat is absorbed by that water, that is completely used to melt that ice. Okay, even then you can't melt complete ice. You can't melt complete ice. That means what? The total temperature of the mixture will remain at a 0 degree Celsius itself. Total temperature will remain at 0 degree Celsius itself. When that temperature of that mixture will increase? If that water has more heat than heat required to melt this ice. Correct, no? If that water, hot water, has more heat than the heat required to melt this complete ice, then only after complete melting only the temperature of the mixture will rise. Okay, so now in this particular case, that heat is not enough to melt this complete ice. Therefore, whatever heat is given by that water, that is used to melt some portion of ice. Okay, therefore the temperature of the mixture will remain as it is, or that will be retained at 0 degree only. Next one. A body of mass 5 gram is executing simple harmonic motion about a point with an amplitude 10 centimeter. Its maximum velocity is 100 centimeter per second. The velocity will be 50 centimeter per second at a distance. So V maximum is given. You know, a relation between V max and omega. V max equal to A omega, right? So omega equal to what do you get? V max by A. So what is V max? 100 by 10. That is 10 radian per second. You get omega. So if you know omega, you can write V equal to root of A square minus phi square, where A is maximum amplitude. Okay, maximum amplitude is given, right? Yes. So just substitute the values. What is V? V is given as 50. That is equal to 10 root of y square. This y you require. Just rearrange for y. Please check that. Just rearrange for y. This type of problem we have solved. So at equilibrium, right? And consider two charges, and somewhere in between this, one more charge is kept. Okay. So now these three charges must be at equilibrium. That means if you consider any one charge, particular charge, let us consider this particular charge. Okay, all are positive, right? Equal charges q, the system three charges will be equilibrium. Okay, all are similar charges you can consider. Now if you consider this particular charge, this charge will apply force on this. Similarly, this charge will also apply force on this. Okay, before we can write first one, force on this particular charge by this one. If you consider this distance as r, then force on this particular charge, due to this Coulomb's law, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q1 q2. q1 q2 are equal, therefore you can write it as q square divided by r square plus force on this particular charge due to this. Now what about this distance? This will be r by 2, that is r by 2. Therefore we can write qq divided by r by 2 whole square. This net force must be equal to 0. And just rearrange for q. What do you get? Q square divided by r square, right? K into plus q divided by, what do you get? This is r square into 4 you can write, that is equal to 0. Correct, no? Therefore we can write minus q square divided by r square is equal to 4 times q divided by r square. So if you simplify, one q get cancelled, and if you simplify and rearrange for q, minus q by 4 you will get. Minus q by 4. A charged ball B hangs from a silk thread S, which makes an angle theta with a large charged conducting sheet. You must know, if you have a sheet like this, then electric field due to this sheet is nothing but E equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Okay, sigma by 2 epsilon naught. That means due to this sheet, electric field at this particular point will be equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Okay, now what do you have to calculate? The surface charge density sigma of this sheet is proportional to surface charge density sigma of the sheet is proportional to, just consider net force acting on this. Just consider net force acting on this. Of course, mg is acting downward, and electric force due to its field of this charge will experience a force along this direction, repulsive force, because this is positive. Okay, and this one is also positive. Okay, charged ball hangs from silk S, which makes an angle theta with the, of course the charges are not given, since there is some separation, means there is some repulsive force. Okay, in this, whether a negative charge or positive charge, it is not given, but from the diagram itself you can understand that since there is some repulsive force, this is also having some positive charge. Okay, yes. Now this is the thread, so there will be some tension, so you can resolve that tension into two components, right? So if this one is theta, this is also theta. Okay, so this is the adjacent side, this will be cos theta, and this will be t sine theta. So at equilibrium, net upward force must be balanced by net downward force, and this QE has to be balanced by t sine theta. Write two equations and just divide that two equations. So what do you get? T sine theta at equilibrium, t sine theta must be equal to QE, and t cos theta must be equal to mg. Divide these two equations. What do you get? Sin theta by cos theta, t get cancelled. If you divide this, 1 by 2 if you do, right? So this will be tan theta equal to QE divided by mg you will get. What you have to Instead of this E, substitute this value. Instead of E, substitute sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So we get tan theta, that is equal to Q by mg sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Correct, no? Now if you look at this tan theta and sigma, how sigma is proportional? That is the question, right? So sigma is proportional to tan theta. It is directly proportional to tan theta. Sigma is directly proportional to tan theta. Yes. Next one. A thin metallic spherical shell contains a charge Q on it. A point charge Q is placed at the center of the shell and another charge Q1 is placed outside. Just look at the diagram. Okay, so Q1 is outside and Q is inside. Now, this surface that has some charge capital Q. Okay, all these three charges are positive. Okay, the force on the charge at the center is this is actually a metallic spherical shell, and you know the concept. Inside a shell, electric field will be equal to 0, right? Inside the shell, electric field will be equal to 0. So electric field is 0. You know, F equal to Q into E. So if E is 0, F will be equal to 0, right? That is electrostatic shielding concept. Okay, electrostatic shielding. So using this concept, you can protect certain sensitive instruments in laboratory by keeping them inside the cavity like this. That is known as electrostatic shielding. That is why you have to sit inside the car during lightning. It is safer to sit inside the car than outside, because a car, inside the car, it will be like a cavity. Okay, metal surface will be outside and you will be inside. Electric field will be 0. It acts like electrostatic shielding concept. Okay, yes, just look at this. An electron of mass m and charge E is accelerated from rest through a potential difference V in a vacuum. The final speed of the acceleration will be, okay, so final speed you have to calculate. So final speed, electron has certain mass m and charge is E, accelerated from rest, so V naught is 0, potential is given. How you can do? So F is nothing but Q into E. Force experienced is nothing but charge into electric field. And you know, mass is given, therefore we can write M into A, acceleration, that is equal to Q into E. So from this you can calculate acceleration. That is QE divided by M you will get. Correct, no? QV divided by M, that is acceleration. Now speed you have to calculate, right? So speed you have to calculate. And initial speed is 0. So V square minus U square equal to 2AS, that you know. But this U square is 0. Therefore, we can write V square equal to 2AS. And A value you know. So V square equal to 2 into, what is that? QE divided by acceleration value, M into S. Into S. Correct? So now QE is nothing but F, force, right? So this is nothing but force. So force into displacement. Okay, I will rewrite that here. V square, that is equal to 2 into force into displacement divided by mass. So what is this force into displacement? That is work, right? That is work. So work can be written as, you know, potential equal to work per unit charge, right? So work equal to Q into V you can write, right? Therefore here what is Q? That is E. Therefore, we can write it as 2 by m E into V, right? So our requirement is V, so root of this. So 2 EV divided by m, 2 EV divided by m. Yes, it's like Van de Graaff generator concept. So you have to consider two spheres. So one is of radius r, and then one is of radius capital R. Okay, so in this charge is q, and in this charge is capital Q. Now difference in potential you have to consider. So here inside potential, inner one has some potential V1 and here potential V2. So difference in potential means V1 minus V2 you can consider. Okay, V1 minus V2. So just write the expression for V1. Expression for V1. So potential on this, potential on first surface, inner surface. So here potential will be due to its own charge, also potential due to this charge which is on outer sphere. Okay, first I will write potential on this first surface due to its own charge. So what is that expression? That is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r. So that is potential on this surface, inner surface, due to its own charge q. Now, due to the charge on outer surface, there will be some potential on this inner surface. And you know the concept. Potential inside that is equal to potential on the surface. That means if you consider potential of this capital Q on this outer surface, whatever value you get, same potential will be there inside also. Okay, that means potential due to this capital Q on this inner surface can be given as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by capital R. Why? This is actually potential on outer surface, but we know that potential on the surface and potential inside the sphere will be same. Therefore, we can consider this. This is actually V1. Okay, this is V1 minus V2. That is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. What is that? Potential on outer surface due to its own charge. Potential on outer surface due to its own charge. Plus, you have to consider potential on outer surface due to this particular charge. That is small q. And that value will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r. Why it is capital R? Because you have to assume whole charge is concentrated at the center only. That acts like point charge. So now this difference you have to calculate. So if you just multiply with minus on these both of these, then what happens? This capital Q by this one, this get cancelled, right? So you left with 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r plus, minus, so you are multiplying it with minus, okay, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by capital R. So option 3, correct? No? Question number 23, option 3. Yes. Try to solve this. First, you have to find equivalent resistance. Okay, so first find equivalent resistance. So what about this? These two are connected in parallel. So what do you get? Parallel combination. 6 into 3 divided by 6 plus 3. So you will get 2. Right? So that 2 plus 1.5. So you'll get this one as 3.5. This will be 3.5. Right? 3.5. So that 3.5 is 3.5. See, you can write like this. This is 1.5. This is 2. And there is 1 6. And here one more. 2 ohm is there. Right? So now these are connected in parallel. That means 6 into 3.5 divided by 6 plus 3.5 parallel plus this 2 plus that 2. So if you simplify, what do you get? 40 by 9.5. Right? 40 divided by 9.5 almost. Yes. So we can calculate this particular current, right? Current. Next you have to apply branch current concept. Okay, what is the question actually? What is I? So I, here is I you have to calculate. So first you need to get the total current. So total current. Okay, let us consider this one as I1 here. Let it be I1, and this is I2. Let it be I2. Okay, so I1 is the total current. So total current can be calculated, right? So if you know applied voltage and to equal effective resistance, I equal to V by R, that is 4 volt divided by what is R? 40 by 9.5, right? So if you simplify, you will get 0.95. So I1, this is 0.95 you get. Okay, 0.95. Now you require I2. I2. I2 is nothing but I1. Here you can apply branch current concept. Branch current concept. I2 is nothing but resistance, total current into resistance of other branch. Total current is I1 into resistance of other branch. You can consider this one as one branch, this complete as one branch, and this 6, that is other branch. Therefore, other branch divided by total resistance. What is total resistance? Total resistance. This is 3.5. This one is 3.5, right? This branch has resistance 3.5, and this is 6. So 6 plus 3.5. Okay, yeah. So what do you get? I2 equal to 0.95 into 6 divided by 9.5. So that means I2 will be 0.6 ampere. I2 is 0.6 ampere. So our requirement is I. Again, you have to apply. See, like this you get. This is 0.6, right? I2 is 0.6. Okay. Now, this one is 6. and this one is 3, and here you have 1.5. Correct? No? Now this value you need, this value you require. So how to calculate that? Again, apply branch current formula. So I equal to total current, that is I2, into resistance of other branch, it is 3, divided by sum of resistances 6 and 3. What is that? 6 plus 3, 9. So I2 value, substitute that I2 value, 0.6 into 3 divided by 9. So 3 times. So what do you get? 0.2 ampere you will get. 0.2 ampere. So twice you have to apply branch current concept. You have to apply branch current concept twice. Yes, question number 25. A 1 microbeam protons with cross-section area 0.5 square millimeter is moving with a velocity of 3 into 10 power 4 meter per second. Then charge density means charge per unit volume, right? So rho equal to Q by volume, or Q by A into L you can consider, right? Or you can write length is nothing but speed into time. You can write speed into time because it is given. Just substitute the values. 1 into 10 power minus 6 square millimeter, right? Sorry, 1 microbeam. Charge is 1 micro. Then area is given how much? 0.5 square millimeter. Square of millimeter, that means 0.5 into 10 power minus 3 square, that is 10 power minus 6 into 3 into how much? 10 power 4. 10 power 4. Just simplify this. You will get 6.6 into 10 power minus 5. Actually, option 2. Please check that. Question number 25, right? Yes, option 2. This one is direct. Direct. You know the formula for that. Just go through this. A voltmeter of resistance 20,000 ohm reads 5 volt to make a reading of 20 volt. The extra resistance required is. Here we can use different methods. Okay, so I will use one method out of that. You know, voltage is given 5 volt. V equal IR. Ohm's law concept you can use. Okay, V equal to IR concept. So here actually voltage is 5 volt in first case, and resistance, let us take resistance of that galvanometer as G, okay, into current through that is Ig. V equal to Ri, okay, or IR. So that is the first case. Next, voltage has to be increased to 20 volt, right? So V into, now to increase this voltage to this galvanometer, some extra resistance has to be connected. So resistance has to be increased. Therefore, you have to connect that in series, right? So G plus R, that is that R value, that is what you need to calculate now. Okay, so into Ig, into Ig. Now you need to get this R value. You have to connect that R in series with this so that you can increase resistance. So if you increase the resistance, you can increase this voltmeter reading, right? You know, for an ideal voltmeter, the resistance must be infinity. Okay, so that you have to increase. If you want to increase potential difference, increase resistance. Okay, now divide these two. Just divide these two. 5 by 20. So G into Ig divided by G plus R into Ig. Ig get cancelled. So you will get 1 by 4. Right? So 1 by 4. Let's simplify this. G value is given. Let's simplify. You must get R as how much? Around 60,000, right? Option 3, 27. Yes. A magnet of length 10 centimeter and pole strength 50 ampere meter is kept in an external magnetic field of strength 20 micro Tesla for the maximum couple acting. For maximum couple, theta value, right? So maximum torque is nothing but plus mb, right? M cross B. Torque is nothing but M cross B, dipole moment. So how to get dipole moment? For maximum value will be plus mb. Okay, so m can be written as m into pole strength into its length, pole strength into length, m, pole strength into length, that is dipole moment, capital M. Okay, small m into, I have considered m, small m is pole strength, okay, and capital M is dipole moment, dipole moment. So m is nothing but m into L, okay, into B, into B. Just substitute the values. That is 50, right? 50 into 10 centimeter. 10 power minus 1 you can write 10 centimeter L, 2L. 2L itself is equal to, don't consider this as L, okay. 2L itself is equal to 10 centimeter, okay. 0.1 meter into magnetic field. What is the value? 20 into 10 power minus 6. Yes. You get, if you simplify, 10 power minus 4, you'll get Newton meter. This one is direct susceptibility, that is equal to mu r minus 1. Next one. Magnetic field, again the direct this one, pH divided by cos theta, right? You have pH equal to B cos I, BH equal to B cos I. Just simplify that. So BH divided by cos 30 root 3 by 2, that is 2BH divided by root 3. Let's go through next question. So in this one, current goes around this direction. If you consider this as anti-clockwise direction, then due to induction, what happens? Yes, due to this current, the magnetic field will be along this direction. Magnetic field will be along this direction. Okay, so that there will be some induced current within this second coil, But you know, the induced current that will always oppose the cause which produces it, right? That will always oppose the cause which produces it. That means that has to oppose this increasing flux. That means the flux or the magnetic field on the second coil must be along this particular direction. That must oppose this. If you consider this one as BP, then BQ must oppose BP. So BP is produced due to clockwise current, right? Or you can consider, if you consider this as anti-clockwise current, then to oppose that, in this Q, the current must be in opposite direction. Okay. Anyhow, come if you consider the direction of current in P and Q, they are in opposite directions. That means if currents are in opposite direction, what about the nature of force? They must repel each other, right? If you have two conductors carrying current in opposite direction, they must repel each other. Okay. A train is moving north at a speed of 180 km per hour. If vertical component of Earth's magnetic field is 0.2 into 10 power minus 4 Tesla, the EMF induced in the axle of length 1.5 meter is induced EMF induced in a conductor, motional EMF concept. EMF induced is nothing but BLV, right? BLV. Let's substitute the values. Magnetic field is given how much? 0.2 into 0.2 into 10 power minus 4, and length is given, that is 1.5 meter, but V is given in terms of kilometer per hour. Convert that into meter per second, so that will be equal to 50 meter per second. Okay, 50 meter per second, 180 kilometer per hour. So 180 into 5 by 18 you can do, so you will get 50 meter per second. Okay, just simplify this. 32. You must get option 1. Next, an inductor of 1 Henry is connected across a 220 volt 50 hertz supply. The peak value of current approximately. Peak value of current. So this is actually RMS value. Always remember this. Whatever given in the question, that will be RMS value. Okay. Along with frequency, what you get, that is our RMS value. So using RMS voltage, you can calculate IRMS. How? It is an inductor, right? Inductor. So VRMS by XL. So how to calculate XL? VRMS divided by XL, 2 pi FL, right? 2 pi FL. So why we need this IRMS? Because you know the relation between V naught, I naught and IRMS. How? So I naught is nothing but root 2 into IRMS. I naught is root 2 into IRMS. So just you can calculate this. So VRMS value is 220 divided by 2 pi, right, into 50 into 1. So if you will get, this is about 220 and this is 100, right? 100 pi. So 0.7 you will get 0.7. So root 2 into 0.7. Almost 1 ampere, nearly 1 ampere. 34, 34. Theoretical concept, conceptual question, you can solve that. Conceptual, this fourth option. Yeah. Yes. 35. Resonance concept. Natural frequency and that resonating frequency. That must be same. And this one, if you cut this, how to cut? One cut is perpendicular to axis and other one is parallel to axis. So first one perpendicular to axis, sorry. First one, if you consider lens like this, if you cut it like this, perpendicular to axis, this is actually axis. Okay. So now if you cut this, then each part will have a focal length that is equal to 2f, 2f. And finally you are cutting like this also, parallel to axis. That means you will finally will get a part like this. That means only this part, only this part. Okay, so if you cut along the axis, focal length won't change. Focal length won't change. That means just like this part, 1/4 you can say. Well, this part. So this part will have same focal length. Four parts you can imagine. Okay. Four parts. So out of this, for this particular part, focal length will be 2f itself. We have discussed about this during synopsis. Yes. So here you can write n2 by n1, that is nothing but sine I by sine r1. Let us consider this as r1. Okay. Similarly, for this particular medium, for this particular edge, if this is r1, this will be r1 only, right? This will be r1 only. So this is nothing but angle of incidence for this second surface. For this particular surface, this is angle of incidence. Correct now? So I can say that as I. So n3 divided by n2 equal to sine I. Sine I means r1 for the second surface, sine r. Now just multiply these two. 1 into 2. Just multiply these two. That is n2 by n1 into n2 by n3. Sorry, n3 by n2. That will be equal to sine I by sine r1 into sine r1 divided by sine r1 divided by sine r. Okay, so this n2 get cancelled, then r1 get cancelled, this sign. So you left with n3 by n1, that is equal to sine I by sine r. So n3 is root 2 by n1, that is 1, sine 45 divided by sine r. Correct now? So from that sine r can be written as 1 by root 2 into this root 2, right? Sin 45, 1 by root 2 into this root 2. So you will get 1 by 2. So sin theta is 1 by 2. Theta is sin inverse of 1 by 2, right? Sin r equal to 1 by 2. So r equal to sin inverse of 1 by 2, that is 30 degree. 30 degree. Okay. Yes. This is direct one. So beta must be equal to beta dash. So lambda d by d must be equal to d dash lambda divided by, wavelength remains same, only distance is doubled, right? Distance, this separation is doubled, and this one, that is what you need to calculate. Just rearrange for d dash. You will get it as 2d. Simple calculation. Next one. I think this one we have discussed in classwork question. Just go through that. Okay, classwork question. It will be 75%. Just go through that. There's a concept here. Concept lambda, that is proportional to 1 by root of kinetic energy, right? Lambda proportional to 1 by root of kinetic energy. Just go through that. 40. The photoelectric effect, the work function of a metal is 3.5 electron volt. Phi naught is this much. Estimate the electrons that can be stopped by applying a potential of 1.2 volt, minus 1.2 volt. You know, the total energy is used as two parts, Einstein's photoelectric equation. So work function and maximum kinetic energy. So work function is given, 3.5 electron volt is given, plus maximum kinetic energy will be equal to EV naught, right? Stopping potential, right? So stopping potential is given 1.2 volt. So V naught is 1.2 volt. Therefore, we can write 3.5 electron volt plus E into 1 point. So that is minus 1.2 electron volt we can write, right? 1.2 into E. 1.2 volt into E, that is minus 1.2 electron volt. Just calculate this. Sorry, here yeah, value you have to consider that as plus. Okay, here value you have to consider that as plus. So what do you get? That one, not that much you have to add, right? So 4.7 electron volt you will get. 4.7 electron volt. Question number 40. Yes. Energy of incident photon you have to calculate, right? Yes, right. Let's move on to the next one. So total power, the total power that incident on the roof, power is nothing but I into A, intensity into area, I into A. So direct substitution, intensity is given, it is 10 power 3 into area 1.8 into 20. So directly you can calculate 3.6 into 10 power 4 watt. Okay, so it should be option 1, not option 4. Please correct it. Okay, option 1, 3.60. Next one. I think this you can solve. What is the frequency? So expression for frequency. Frequency can be written as C by lambda, right? So that is equal to R into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. Simple calculation. Just do that. So R value is given 10 power 7, and this will be n1. What is n1? This is n1 and this is n2, right? So 1 by 4 square minus 1 by 5 square. Okay, into C is there, right? So into C must be there. So into C, so I will write that C here. Okay, into C, that is 3 into 10 power 8. Yes, you must get 6.75 into 10 power 13. Okay, 6.75 into 10 power 13. That means option, for question number 42, option 2. Okay, yes, this is direct. This is direct. E by 2m. You must remember that gyromagnetic ratio. Okay, gyromagnetic ratio. Gyromagnetic ratio. Please remember this. E by 2m. Gyromagnetic ratio is E by 2m. That is mu L divided by L. Mu L divided by L. Mu L is nothing but EVR divided by 2, and angular momentum is MVR. Okay, so if you simplify this, E divided by 2m, you will get the ratio of orbital angular momentum to, sorry, magnetic dipole moment to angular momentum. Magnetic dipole moment to angular momentum. It's very important. It's given in inside textbook also. Just go through that. And this one, maximum efficiency for full wave rectifier, that is 81.2. Yes. Just apply. Say here A is given. So here you will get A, and that A is given to this one. So this is an AND gate. So you will get A dot B here. So A dot B you will get here. So A dot B and A, that is given to OR gate. So A plus A dot B. A plus A dot B. Option 1. Next 46. Energy, change in energy, right? So delta E you can calculate. That is 13 into, just look at this. This is C12 and this is C13. So for C13 you have this much energy. Okay, and for this 7.68 mega electron. The energy required to remove one neutron. So if you remove one neutron from this, what do you get? You will get this one, right? If you remove one neutron from this C13, then you will get C12. So energy required is nothing but difference in these two energies. Difference in these two energies. So 13 into 7.47, because this is binding energy per nucleon is given, right? Binding energy per nucleon. So there are 30 nucleons in this. So 13 into binding energy per nucleon minus 12 nucleons are there. So 12 into 7.68. So what do you get? Just simplify this. 4.95 mega electron volt you must get. This is direct conversion. Delta M is nothing but 2.23 divided by 931. You know how to convert, right? 0.0024. 0.0024. Yes. Let's go through this question. So here kinetic energy that is equal to, it will be converted into potential energy. Kinetic energy will be stored as potential energy. So what is the expression for kinetic energy? P square by 2m. And potential energy, you know, Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Oh sorry, R. Here R is nothing but R naught, stopping distance. That means from this it is clear that R naught is directly proportional 1 by P square. Right? Therefore we can write R1 by R2, that is equal to P2 by P1 whole square. So R naught by R2, that will be equal to 2P by P, right? It is double. So R2 will be equal to R naught by 4. R naught by 4. Fourth option. R naught by 4. Yes. So this one also we have discussed. Okay, just go through class work questions. We have discussed about this. Focal length of converging lens. That means nothing but 1 plus d by f direct is 1 plus 25 by 8. It is 1 plus 3.25. 4.25. 4.25. Almost second option you can consider for 50th. Yes, almost second option. Okay. So you know V I B G Y O R. So now given that green light is just total internally reflected. Green light is just total internally reflected. Now what do you have to consider here? What are the colors that comes out from this? So green light is just total internally reflected. You know, red color that has larger lambda value, right? For red color, lambda value is maximum. For this, lambda value is minimum, correct? No? Lambda value is minimum. So for total internal reflection, you know, angle of incidence must be greater than critical angle. Angle of incidence, that is one condition. And second condition is valid here because it moves from denser medium to rarer medium, glass to air that goes. So now we have to check whether this I is greater than C or not. Okay, I is greater than C or not. So you know I is directly proportional to angle of incidence must be greater than critical angle, and you know the relation between critical angle and refractive index, how they are proportional? They are inversely proportional, right? They are inversely proportional. Critical angle and refractive index. Also, you know, refractive index, how it is proportional to wavelength? It is also inversely proportional to wavelength. Inversely proportional to wavelength. So what you can say? From this, this critical angle is directly proportional to wavelength. Critical angle is directly proportional to wavelength. That means as wavelength increases, critical angle must increase. Critical angle must increase. That means this green light that just reflects back. Okay, that just reflects back. But what about this yellow, orange, and red? Since they have larger wavelength, their critical angle will also be larger. Okay, so critical angle will be larger than this. Therefore, what happens? They won't reflect back. Okay, they won't reflect back. So what happens? That those three colors they pass through this glass. They pass through this glass. Therefore, you can see these three colors emerging out from that glass. These three colors emerging out from that glass because they must have larger critical angle. If you want to, if if they has to, yeah, if they have to get reflected back to same medium, their critical angle must be greater than this. Okay. So this is direct combination. So 1 by f is nothing but 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. So 1 by 10 plus 1 by minus 6. Why? Concave lens. So concave lens negative, convex lens positive. Sign convention. F is nothing but minus 15 centimeter you will get. Distance traveled, that is inversely proportional to what? Distance traveled is inversely proportional to refractive index. Distance traveled is inversely proportional to refractive index. Therefore, d dash is nothing but d by mu. D by mu. D dash equal to d by mu. That is 24 divided by 4 by 3. That will be 18 centimeter. Please calculate that. A prism has a refractive index of root 3 by 2, that is n. Okay, n value is given. A refracting angle, that is angle of prism. So minimum deviation you have to calculate, delta. Delta minimum deviation you have to calculate. So n equal to sine I by sine r you can write, right? So n is root 3 by 2, that is equal to sine I by sine r. Sine r, r how much? A value is given, a equal to 90 degree. You know, a equal to 2r. Therefore, r equal to, at minimum deviation, a by 2, that is 45 degree. 45 degree. Therefore, sine 45 you can consider. Sine 45. Right? So, what do you get? Root 3 by root 2, that is equal to root 2 sine I you can write. Root 2 sine I. 1 by root 2. Take that root 2 to numerator. This is 1 by root 2. Take that to numerator. You will get root 2. So root 2 into root 2, that will be 2. Root 3 by 2 you will get, right? So sine I equal to root 3 by 2. That implies I equal to what? 60 degree. I equal to 60 degree. Okay. So our requirement is minimum deviation, right? That is I plus E minus A. But at minimum deviation, I equal to E. At minimum deviation, I equal to E. Therefore, dm can be written as 2I minus A. That is 2 into 60 minus 90. So 120 minus 90. So what do you get? 30. 30. Right? Yes. Force required. Force required F is YAL divided by L. YA delta L you can consider. Okay. YA delta L divided by L. Substitute the values. Simple calculation. 1.1 into 10 power 2. Hope you can do that. Next, The magnetic field energy in an inductor changes from maximum value to minimum value in 5 millisecond when connected to a AC source. The frequency of source. So maximum to minimum, maximum to minimum. If you consider like this. So this is actually maximum. This is minimum. Okay. So this total time, say, if you consider this as 0, this will be T by 2, right? T by 2, and here it is T. So now if you consider here, what is the time? That will be T by 4. So maximum to minimum, here to here also, right? If you consider from here to here also, that is T by 4. Difference between these two, that is T by 4. The time taken to move from maximum to minimum is T by 4. So that value is given. T by 4 equal how much? 5 millisecond. So 5 into 10 power minus 3. So from this we can write expression for T. So what is the time T? That is 20 10 into 10 power minus 3. 4 into 5, that gives 3. Sorry, T. Okay. So once if you know T, or you can write 2 into 10 power minus 2, you can write, right? Right? Yes. So if you know T, you can write F, right? How? 1 by T is nothing but F. That is what the required data. So F is nothing but 1 by 2 into 10 power minus 3. That is 50 hertz. 50 hertz. Yes. So I equal to 3 sin omega t plus 4 cos omega t. So you can consider this as A, this as B. So maximum, that is nothing but root of I1 square plus I2 square, right? So that means A square plus B square. That is root of 3 square plus 4 square. So you will get root 25, that is nothing but 5. I maximum is 5. Right? So that is I naught. I maximum, you can consider that as I naught. I naught is 5. So how to write IRMS then? I naught by root 2. So 5 by root 2. Think option 2. Okay? Yes. Yes. Here this length is given, that is L. Then what about this length? What about that particular length? This is A, this is B. Let us consider this as C, and this is 45 degree. This one is L. So this can be written as BC. Can you take cos 45 here? So cos 45 means what? L divided by BC, right? BC. So BC equal to what you get? L by cos 45. So this is L divided by cos 45. L divided by cos 45. So BC L by cos 45. So what do you get? L divided by cos 45 is 1 by root 2. Right? 1 by root 2. And L value is how much? Okay. Or you can write L by root 2. That is 1, right? Okay. 1. For L. Okay, same value you can take. 1 by root 2. Okay. So 1. This is 1 and this is 1. So what do you get? Root 2. BC will be equal to root 2 you will get. BC equal to root 2. Yes. So now force. Force on AB. Force on AB divided by force on BC. Force on AB divided by force on BC. What is force on AB? ILB sine 90 divided by force on BC. IL, what is L? That is 1 divided by Oh, sorry, root 2, right? Yes, it is root 2. Root 2 into, what is the angle? Sine 45. BC, length BC is nothing but root 2. Okay, length BC is root 2. So I into length, okay, or 1 minute. Just we can write like this. It's I, L is 1, right? Okay, 1, okay, divide into B, sine 90 degree. Okay, because direction of field is along this direction, and this AB, this one is perpendicular to that. Okay, AB is perpendicular to that, so theta is 90 degree. Okay, next BC, length is how much? Length is root 2. But what about angle now? This angle, that is 45 degrees, sine 45. Now it is clear, right? Yes. So what do you get? I into sine 90, 1 divided by I into root 2 into sine 45. That is 1 by root 2. So what do you get? 1 by 1 you will get. Okay, 1 by 1. So 1 by 1 is 1. What about this? Radius r equal to mv by qv, right? R is directly proportional to v. Then omega is nothing but qb by m. qb by m, that is independent of r. Independent of r. That means omega proportional r to the power 0, you can say, right? Omega proportional r to the power 0. So v is directly proportional to r. V is directly proportional to r. That means v increases, but omega remains constant. V increases, omega remains constant. 59. Third option. Yes. And the last one, graph I and V are given. You know, as resistance increases, I will decrease. I must decrease. So just look at this. This is one I value, IQ, and here IP. So which is greater? IQ is greater than IP. That means what? RQ must be less than RP, or RP is greater than RQ, or right, no? RP is greater than RQ. RP is greater than RQ. Right? Yes. So that is about all solutions of mock test 1. Okay. So next, one more exam you may have. Okay. So I think 2 more exams you have, mock tests. Mock test 2, mock test 3. Okay. Yes. Good luck. So if you like this video, please subscribe this channel. Okay, if you have not yet subscribed our channel, please subscribe and share this link with your friends too. Okay. Yes. Thank you. We'll wind up here.